Okay, I'm going to walk you through how to install Eclipse. Again, you have two options for using Eclipse or doing Java programming. One is you can use our virtual lab, and there'll be more instructions posted here. But I'm going to walk you through this part and installing Eclipse. So I'm going to go to this link here. We just need the Java IDE. We don't need any of these more advanced or web-based IDEs. So I'm just going to click on the Java IDE. I pick my environment here. If you're running a Mac OS, you can click that. I'm on a virtual machine right here that's 32-bit, so I'm just going to install and download that. I can choose different mirrors. I'm just going to use this recommended one, and it will start downloading, so I'll just wait for that to finish downloading. Okay, so now I've downloaded it. I'm just going to open the folder that I downloaded into and unzip it, extract it, and again I've got to wait for it to extract. So once it gets done, I can run it. There's not an install program in Windows. It just comes in a folder here, and I can run it straight from this folder. So if I want, I can actually move this to the desktop or someplace where I want. Well, remember it right now, it's in my downloads folder. So I'm just going to move it to the desktop and run it. Now, if you've downloaded the wrong version of it and you run it, it should tell you that you've got the wrong version. So if you don't know if you're in a 32-bit world or a 64-bit world. So here's my 32-bit world, and I can run this. So now, if I don't have the Java runtime environment or Java JDK, Java Development Kit installed, it'll tell you this and warn you. So then you should go do that. If you don't know if you have the JDK installed or not, you can run Eclipse and it should tell you. So now it says I don't have the JDK. I'm going to go and do that. So again, I'm going to go back to my list, and here's the link to the JDK. And so here's my Java. We can just do Java SE downloads, and I just need the JDK here. Click on that, and then I can choose the different platforms. It gets kind of confusing in here. Here's the Java SE Development Kit. And again, I don't necessarily have to worry about the version. You can generally just grab the most recent version here. And again, Mac version, a bunch of Unix versions, and here I'm in the 32-bit window world, so I'm just going to download that. Of course, I have to make sure I click this accept the license agreement up here, and then my download will work. That's why you read the error messages when they pop up. So I'll just wait for this to download. So I've downloaded it. Again, if you're on Unix, you probably have Java installed already, and I believe the Mac environment generally has it installed. So now I'm going to, but in Windows I've got to install it if you haven't already for some other class. So I'm just going to run this and walk through the installer and wait for it to install. Once the installer is working again, then I can go back and run the Eclipse and do that. So here I don't want to change where Java installed. I can just leave all the static or the standard configuration set. Here I don't have to do the next steps to install additional features or tutorials. I can leave that and just hit close after it's completed. Okay, so that's my Java installed, and now I can just go back to my desktop where I have put Eclipse, and then I should be able to run Eclipse. Now again, it'll ask for a workspace, and you can generally use the default workspace that it creates on your machine. It's helpful to pay attention to where that is on your machine so that later on when you're grabbing files to submit or downloading files, you can know. So by default it's in user tgibbon workspace. Some people like to change that and put it inside the documents folder of the workspace. so you can find them easier. So sometimes we like to put them inside documents here and do a Eclipse workspace. I'm just used to using the documents folder more, so I can put it in there. And the first time it runs, it takes a little bit longer, and then next time again it'll run, I can just say OK to that Eclipse workspace. So here's Eclipse, and I'm just going to close the welcome window, and this is my interface where we work on, and we'll import projects here. I'll quickly show you how to import a project. So again, I'm going to go back into Blackboard, and this week we've got this dog zip file. I'm just going to download that. It shows up here. I'm going to unzip it. I'm going to do extract all. Again, it's in my download area. I'm just going to remember that. Now I'm going to go back to Eclipse, and I can do File, Import. And what I want to do, this is a little confusing at first, I want to go under General and do an existing project into the workspace. And then I'm going to browse to find that. So I'm going to go into my downloads and my virtual dog world 1 and open that. So it should show the workspace here if you haven't already imported it and have it checked, and I can hit finished. So here's my workspace. I can look into the source and the default package, and here is the code for it. And again, you can look at this code and see some of what it does here. And then to run this, I can just click on the Run button. So if you haven't run it before, it'll give you an error. Just right-click on this and choose Run as. Oops, I've got to open up this main program first. So there's 2 programs in this file. I'm going to open up the GUI one that contains the main class. And now I can say Run as a Java application. And this will open up my dog interface, and I can go through and do things to my virtual dog. Okay, now I'll show you again if eventually you'll want to package these up and submit these. So again, if I want to submit a project, I can right click on it and choose Export. And then again, under General, I want to export to an archive file and give it some name. Now for the first assignment you don't have to do this, but for later assignments you will. So I can export that, and it'll show up in my workspace as an archive file, as a zip file. I can go out there and locate it. Oops, I forgot to show you where this is exporting it. So again, when I export it as an archive file, if I hit browse here, it'll show me what folder it's going to, and by default it's exporting it into the Eclipse folder, which in my case is on the desktop. So then when I create that, again, you can change that, or else you can go, look, here's the assignment, the zip file all zipped up, and I could submit this back in Blackboard. Again, you don't have to do this for assignment 1, but for later assignments you will have to modify the code and submit the modified code here. Now one final warning is, if you are on a virtual machine using Eclipse, remember that you should be saving things onto your local C drive rather than here. So, okay, that wraps up this tutorial on how to install Eclipse. Again, with the Mac world, I'm sorry I don't have a Mac here. I can show you. It's similar. You have to download the Eclipse package and install it. Check if you need the JDK, and if so, download the JDK and install that. So, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Post them to the discussion area, or contact your instructor.